Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was born on June 29, 1900, in Lyon, France. As a child, he spent hours staring at the sky, imagining what it would be like to soar like the birds he watched. His first airplane ride at age 12 changed everything. The moment the plane lifted into the air, Antoine felt a thrill he would never forget. From that day, he knew he wanted to fly. But life had other plans first. He studied architecture in school, though his heart was never in it. The sky kept calling him, and at age 21, he joined the French Air Force. There, he learned to fly military planes, discovering both the freedom and danger of the skies. This marked the start of his two great passions, flying and riding. In the 1920s, airplanes were still fragile machines. Pilots faced constant risks, engine failures, storms, and navigating without modern instruments. Antoine chose a challenging path, delivering mail by air. He joined a company that flew between France and remote parts of Africa. Pilots like him carried letters and packages across vast deserts and mountains, often in terrible weather. The job required not just skill, but bravery. One wrong move could mean disaster. Antoine once described flying as a series of small miracles, where every safe landing felt like a victory. His adventures in the sky became stories on paper. During quiet nights in the desert or long hours waiting for repairs, Antoine wrote about his experiences. His first book, Southern Mail, published in 1929, captured the life of a male pilot in North Africa. Through vivid descriptions, he painted the beauty of the Sahara, golden dunes under a burning sun, endless starry skies, and the loneliness of being far from home. Readers could almost feel the dry desert wind and hear the roar of the plane's engine. But the book also showed the dangers. In one scene, a pilot crashes in the desert and must walk for days under the scorching sun, hoping for rescue. This was inspired by Antoine's own near-death experiences. One such experience happened in 1935. While attempting to break a speed record from Paris to Saigon, Antoine's plane crashed in the Libyan desert. He and his mechanic survived, with almost no food or water. They walked for days, hallucinating from thirst, until Bedouin tribesmen found them. This ordeal became a key part of his later book, Wind, Sand and Stars. In it, he wrote, "What saves a man is to take a step, then another step." For Antoine, survival was about hope and persistence, lessons he learned in the desert. Antoine's second book, Night Flight, brought him international fame. Published in 1931, it told the story of pilots who flew mail routes at night. The main character, Rivière, was a tough but thoughtful boss who believed in the importance of the pilot's work, even when it cost lives. The book explored themes of duty, sacrifice, and the invisible bonds between people separated by distance. It won France's prestigious Prix Femina award, and was later adapted into a Hollywood film. But Antoine remained humble. He once said, "I write not to be famous, but to share what I see." His most personal work, Wind, Sand and Stars, 1939, was a collection of memories and reflections. He wrote about flying over the Andes Mountains, where icy winds could tear a plane apart, and nights in the Sahara, where the silence felt like a living thing. He also wrote about friendship. Pilots, he said, were like sailors on a vast ocean of air, relying on each other in times of danger. The book won the National Book Award in the U.S. and touched readers worldwide. One reviewer called it a hymn to the courage of ordinary heroes. When World War II began, Antoine was torn. He hated war but felt a duty to protect his country. He joined the French Air Force, flying reconnaissance missions to gather information about enemy forces. But after France fell to Germany in 1940, he escaped to New York. There, he struggled with sadness and frustration. He missed flying and felt powerless to stop the war. During this dark time, he began writing a story for a friend's child, a story that became The Little Prince. Published in 1943, The Little Prince was unlike anything Antoine had written before. It was a children's fable with a philosophical heart. The story follows a young prince who leaves his tiny asteroid to explore the universe. On his journey, he meets adults obsessed with numbers, rules, and power, a king with no subjects, a businessman counting stars, a lamplighter trapped by routine. Finally, the prince lands on Earth, where he befriends a fox who teaches him about love and loss. The book's most famous lesson comes from the fox: it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Though simple in language, the story asks deep questions. What makes life meaningful? Why do people forget the wonder of childhood? Why do we sometimes hurt those we love? Antoine's own experiences shaped these ideas. The prince's rose, which he protects even though it causes him pain, reflects Antoine's belief that love requires patience and care. The pilot stranded in the desert, trying to fix his plane, mirrors Antoine's own crashes and his faith in human resilience. In 1943, Antoine returned to war. At 43, he was older than most pilots and in poor health from past injuries. Yet he insisted on joining the Free French forces in North Africa. His commanders worried he wasn't fit to fly, but Antoine argued, "I cannot sit still while others fight." On July 31, 1944, he left on a mission to photograph German troops in southern France. He never returned. For decades, his disappearance was a mystery. Some thought he was shot down. Others believed he crashed due to engine failure. In 2004, wreckage of his plane was found off the coast of Marseille, but the exact cause of the crash remains unknown. Antoine's legacy, however, is clear. The Little Prince has sold over 200 million copies worldwide, translated into 300+ languages. It is loved by children for its whimsical story, and by adults for its wisdom. His other books continue to inspire pilots, adventurers, and dreamers. Quotes like "Love does not consist in gazing at each other, but in looking outward together in the same direction" appear in weddings, while "a goal without a plan is just a wish" motivates students and professionals. But Antoine's greatest message was about connection. He believed that in a world often divided by greed and fear, kindness and understanding could bridge distances, whether between planets or people. The Little Prince's journey reminds us to look beyond surface differences and cherish what truly matters: friendship, curiosity, and taking care of one another. Today, Antoine's spirit lives on. Airports, schools, and even a distant asteroid bear his name. Every year, readers of all ages open The Little Prince and find new meaning in its pages. Pilots still quote his descriptions of flying as both a science and an art. And when someone gazes at the stars, imagining distant worlds, they echo Antoine's sense of wonder. As he wrote, "The stars are beautiful because of a flower that cannot be seen." For him, the universe was not just a place of danger and solitude, but a canvas for stories that remind us we are all explorers of the sky, the earth, and the human heart.